So one of my coworkers asked me this week where I was going to go next year for Christmas. Because the last 2 years I have gone to Europe for Christmas and spent several weeks there. I told them I wasn't actually going to go anywhere this year because I don't want to set a precedent of always being out of the country at Christmas time, because then that establishes patterns that I don't want people to know about my comings and goings. The second thing is I don't travel to Europe at Christmas time to get away from something. I'm traveling there to have a Christmas experience. You can have Christmas at home. Being at home alone at Christmas time sucks. Just ask Kevin McAllister. I got to actually talk about that when I was in the O'Hare airport this past year, and the guy said it was pretty quiet because no one was traveling. And I said, "What? Haven't they seen Home Alone?" And he kind of laughed. But it is a time when people do travel, and a lot of people travel. People do travel to Europe. They went to France. I haven't been to France at Christmas time. It's not really on my list because I don't think I want to see Paris at Christmas time. But what I wanted to do the last 2 years was to go visit some countries that I wanted to see how they celebrated Christmas. And because I didn't really have anything going on here. If I had stayed here, my Christmas as a single divorced man with no kids and no girlfriend would have been me simply working normally until Christmas Eve. And between Christmas and New Year's, they don't want us here. So we're supposed to take time off then to sit around at home and do nothing, because this is a time when people spend time with their families. And I get that. I'm not critical of that. I understand it perfectly. It's what I would do if I had one. I would be spending time with my family as well, just like he wanted to in Home Alone. He just got left home alone by accident. I was left home alone intentionally. My ex-wife used to end every argument the last year we were married with, "I guess we should get a divorce." So when we got divorced, should have been no surprise to anybody that our marriage was at an end, because that was her solution to us having problems, was to terminate the relationship. Usually in a relationship, the correct solution is not divorce, but repentance. But if they're not willing to change, then it doesn't really matter what you want. The only other option then is to separate. So I've been able to travel at Christmas time because I don't have anywhere to be and I don't have anyone expecting me to be there. I don't have to buy presents for kids and fill stockings and be there. And when I was delayed in Frankfurt for 6 hours on my way home Christmas Eve, it didn't mess with the schedules too much for anyone except for those who picked me up at the airport, because it delayed their night into their Christmas festivities with their family. But it is a family time of year. And since I didn't have a family, I felt that it was okay for me to busy myself with other things, going to museums and art galleries, places of historical interest, and spending some time on the plaza, looking at the decorations, listening to the music, shopping in the markets there, because most European cities have some sort of a Christmas market in their downtown plaza at Christmas time. And that way I could have a Christmas experience and a vacation at the same time without being here, sitting in my house, listening to Christmas music alone, playing it on the piano alone, and then going to church alone and sitting with a room full of congregants who don't talk to me because they are intimidated by me for whatever reason. I guess it's because I'm a single man who doesn't need them. So I travel because I can, not because I want to. It isn't a dream of mine to see every country or get a stamp in my passport from every country, particularly since Europe isn't stamping passports anymore. But it was to go and use my vacation time to do something I wanted to do at a time when I had nothing I needed to do in particular. To be quite frank, I would prefer to be spending it with a family of my own, to be celebrating the traditions I grew up with as a child with my own children, assuming, of course, I had ever found a woman who wanted to have kids with me in the bounds of matrimony, which, of course, is not my experience. So I go to Europe instead, or I have been to Europe. And I don't think I'll go anywhere this year for Christmas because I don't know that I want to go to Denmark, Sweden, and Iceland in December. I think I'd rather go there in like May. And this May is spoken for, so and it's not anywhere exotic, so it'll be in the future. And I really don't have that many places I want to go see. So what I really wanted to do was be a dad. All I really ever wanted to do growing up was to pass on the cool things that I had experienced, that I had learned from my father, my grandfather, to my children, particularly a son. Since I don't have that, I use the time and the money that I have to enrich my own life. And in the process, I guess I'm able to enrich others. And I'll just tell you this one story because this is how my life usually works in terms of influencing the lives of strangers. So I arrived at Hrady Navlad in Prague a little early for my train because I wanted to be early. It's better to be early than be late. Oh, and I had to check out by a certain time. So I had to leave and cart my stuff over there. So I basically just got on the streetcar and rode. Did I have to switch? I don't think I even had to switch. I was able to ride it directly to the train station without getting off, which is nice because I don't like hauling luggage in and out during the morning commute. Got to the train station. There were lots of people there also traveling who had no idea what the trains are like in Europe. So first I helped this older American couple who were they were going to Berlin, and they weren't sure how the trains worked because they had never traveled by train before. So I helped them, and they had assigned seats, but they weren't next to each other, which was weird, but okay. Once I got on the train, people realized I knew how the trains worked. People of other nations and other places also came up and asked me where their seats were, what car it was in, how to tell what car they were in, where the bathrooms were, what's an assigned seat, how do you know, where do we put our garbage? I mean, all the stuff that if you've not been on a train in Europe before is foreign to those of us who don't travel around by train very often because the trains in America are mostly for freight, at least out in the West, where I live. And so quickly it became very evident that I was approachable, that I was helpful, and that I was knowledgeable. And over the course of my journey, people asked me, let me know when it's this stop. And because the announcements, even when they were spoken in English, his accent was not clear, we'll put it that way. No, I'm not judging him. It was if you're not used to listening to them speak English and you're used to, Boston or Washington, D.C. or even California, it's very foreign pronunciation for those who don't know what English actually sounds like because it's a foreign tongue to them. We have the same problem when we speak their language, so no judgment. But it ended up being a random blessing in the lives of strangers for a moment because I was in their life for a time when I had an answer to a question that they had that they weren't sure they were going to get. And this one American couple said something to me, and I said, the conductors have the answers to these questions, but the two conductors on this train, because there was a train from Prague to Berlin and then to Hamburg, they were Germans, and Germans are not particularly approachable, I would say is probably the best word to use. They're not immediately obviously helpful, which is not true. They don't go out of their way to talk to strangers like we were all taught as kids. And they just, I guess, don't ever grow out of it. And people can tell at this point I was an American because I was helpful and friendly, which is funny that that's how people know what we are. You're either loud and obnoxious or helpful and friendly. Must be an American. So my travels helped me. They helped other people, not with anything earth-shatteringly important. And it wasn't like I couldn't learn the things I learned by watching things on the internet or reading books in my own home. But they were things that you can't take away from me. You can't take it away from me that I've walked around Auschwitz-Birkenau, that I've seen the fire-breathing dragon in Krakow, that I was in Stephansdom in Vienna for Christmas, that I got to ride the trains. I heard traditional hymns in Prague, and I got to see them setting up for New Year's in Berlin, which is pretty wild. I don't know why people want to go there for New Year's, but walk through the Brandenburg Gate, go to the memorials, and see things of historical significance with my own eyes, and be there and know that I was there, notwithstanding the stamps in my passport because I took a train. You can't take those experiences away from me. They are now mine, and I didn't have to pay that much for them because I'm a cheapskate and I know how to travel on the cheap. I walk a lot. I use the public transportation. I don't stay downtown because I don't need to spend all day downtown. That's only part of the city, and it's not necessarily the most interesting part of the city. So why worry about winter? Why worry about what other people are doing for their Christmas festivities? A lot of the people who stayed here and were with family are envious of me, and they're only envious because they wish they had the freedom that I have, because they don't realize that I would love to be a dad. only if it was somebody I actually wanted to keep and somebody with whom I wanted to have kids. And I don't know anybody that fits those descriptions who is also reciprocally interested in me. So I do what I like with my holidays. I spend my Christmases as I like. And the last two, I've been to two different parts of Europe to see how they celebrate Christmas because I didn't get to see Christmas in Vienna when I lived there. And um, I'll probably only do one more Christmas trip to Europe um, because there's places I don't really need to know how they celebrate Christmas or be there with the crowds because I hate crowds too. Anyway, it's your life. Use your time, your money, and your energy to enrich your life in the ways that you want. And if things are forbidden you because of circumstances or because of the choices made by other people, then make the best choice you can to do all the things you want to do that are possible within the realms of your life. Like the things I can't do are things that require the participation and involvement of another person. But I'm able to do everything else I want to do that doesn't involve that. And that's pretty damn good because most people can't say that. And most of the people who were at Auschwitz-Birkenau will have never seen as much of the world as I have. And I feel very richly blessed and enriched by that possibility. So thanks to my ex-wife for insisting on separating. Thanks to all of you who refused to date me or marry me because you thought I would never go anywhere or amount to anything or be a hermit. Because of you, I have money and time to go do all the things you don't have money or time to do because you're taking care of your kids. So thank you for that gift at Christmas. It keeps on giving. Godspeed. May you make good choices and may your families be blessed by the good things that you decide to do to enrich their lives. Godspeed.